It's always nice to hear people say kind things to reassure you or express their love, but actions are what truly show a person's real intentions. In today's video, I'll be talking about the actions, whether they are done consciously or unconsciously, that show Sarada and Sumire truly like and care about Boruto. The purpose of this video is to help Boruto fans understand that Sumire's and Sarada's words match their actions. They don't just say one thing and then act differently. Their behavior proves that they genuinely care about Boruto. Let's first look at how Sumire's actions clearly show that she truly likes and cares about Boruto. Even though Sumire isn't a strong fighter who can help Boruto in battles, she has found other ways to support him. She uses her emotional intelligence, analytical thinking, scientific skills, and social awareness to show her care and devotion to Boruto. Sumire has always dreamed of becoming a great scientist. She currently works under Amado, the most talented scientist around, and is learning everything she can from him. In Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 27, it was revealed that Sumire has managed to achieve her dream. Using the skills and knowledge she gained as a scientist, Sumire dedicates her time, energy, and resources to developing new technology that doesn't yet exist. She is currently working on research that will one day allow her to create a new sword for Boruto, one that is far stronger than Sasuke's original blade, which Boruto currently uses. Her goal is to help Boruto fight more effectively as the Shadow Hokage, without worrying about his sword losing its sharpness or getting chipped. This means that even in the current timeline, Sumire is currently and actively researching ways to develop that powerful new blade for Boruto. Kashin Koji used his present Shinjutsu ability to see the results of Sumire's dedication, hard work, and determination in creating this blade. He then wrote down this information in a scroll and gave it to Boruto so Boruto could bring it to the present day Sumire and help her complete her research faster. This shows that one of Sumire's love languages is acts of service, doing thoughtful and helpful things for a person she likes and cares about, which in this case is Boruto. At the time of this video, Boruto needed his sword fixed before the upcoming battle with Mamashu, so he teleported to Konoha and appeared before Sumire. He explained that his sword, originally Sasuke's, was the Uchiha flowing blade imbued with the Hokorama technique, which increases its sharpness and prevents chipping by covering it in chakra. Boruto told Sumire that during his last battle against Jura, he briefly lost focus, which caused the chip in his blade. He then asked Sumire if he could fix it within a week. Sumire was shocked by this request. She is still in the middle of the research that will eventually lead to her creating new technology strong enough to make that advanced blade for Boruto. But she doesn't yet have the skills or knowledge to do it. Boruto then took out the scroll that contained all the steps and information the future Sumire had taken to develop the new sword. When Sumire looked at the scroll, she was amazed by the advanced technology shown inside. Boruto explained that this technology doesn't exist in their world yet, but she will be the one to develop it through her current research. He also told her that he couldn't say any more about the future. Sumire didn't question him or demand answers. Instead, she respected Boruto's wishes and trusted his judgment. She understood that he must have a good reason for not being able to tell her more. Rather than pushing for answers, Sumire focused on her task. She asked Boruto if he would be okay with the possibility that the repaired blade might become something almost completely new. Boruto replied that as long as it became stronger, he didn't think Sasuke would mind. Hearing that, Sumire was happy to help, but also made a small personal request. She asked Boruto to stop calling her class rep and to call her by her name Sumire instead. This was her indirect way of showing her romantic interest in Boruto and wanting him to see her as more than just a former classmate. After that, Sumire quickly left, excited to start working on Boruto's blade. From both the present and the future Sumire that Kashin Koji saw using his present Shinjutsu, it's clear that acts of service are one of the main ways she expresses her care for Boruto. Through her hard work and dedication, Sumire shows that she truly wants to support Boruto and help him become a better Shadow Hokage. Creating the new blade for Boruto was not the only time Sumire showed her love for Boruto through acts of service. She also proved her care for Boruto by using her intelligence and clever thinking to help him indirectly. During one important moment, Sumire guided a conversation with Amado in a smart way that made him reveal key information. This helped Sai and Shikamaru, who were secretly watching the discussion through a camera, begin investigating whether Boruto was really Naruto's true son and if he could be trusted. Sumire started the conversation with Amado in a way that made it look like she was worried about Boruto. She acted as if she wanted to know whether Amado was concerned that Konoha was trying to hunt Boruto down. Sumire thought that omnipotence might have changed Amado's memories, making him believe Boruto was actually Kawaki, the one who had the Kama seal containing data about Amado's daughter, which could be used for her revival. When Amado responded by saying that it could not be helped if Boruto's life was in danger, Sumire noticed that he seemed strangely calm and unconcerned about the situation. This made her ask if it would not cause a problem for him if Boruto were killed. She asked this because she believed if Amado's memories had truly been altered by omnipotence, then he should want Boruto alive, since he would think Boruto as Kawaki carried his daughter's data inside the Kama seal. However, Amado already knew that his memories had been changed by omnipotence. He was aware of this because he had implanted a camera inside Kawaki's eyes when he modified him. That camera allowed Amado to see everything Kawaki saw and did, including the effects of omnipotence. Knowing all this, Amado decided to play along with Sumire's questions. He pretended that Boruto was indeed Kawaki and said that he had helped rescue Boruto from Gaara's control with Kashinkoji's help in order to defeat Ishiki Otsutsuki. Amado went on to explain that after Ishiki's death, he reformed Boruto's karma and inserted his daughter's data into it, because karmic resurrection was the only way to restore a person's soul exactly as it was, which is why he needed Boruto alive. He then asked Sumire if that was what she was getting at by asking about Konoha going after Boruto. Sumire stayed quiet, letting Amado continue talking. At this point, Amado revealed that despite being affected by omnipotence, he still knew that Kawaki was Kawaki and Boruto was Boruto. He explained that regarding Kawaki, who also had karma, his body was a scientific ninja tool. Yet no one seemed to know who modified him or when, even though Kawaki was the Hokage's son. Amado then stated that by carefully studying the scientific technology inside Kawaki's body, it was obvious that he himself had done the modifications. Using her intelligence, Sumire decided to ask more questions to encourage Amado to share even more information. Since she knew that Sai was secretly watching the conversation, she wanted to gather as much as she could, and she was also genuinely curious. She asked Amado how he was so sure it was his work. Amado replied that no one else could have done such advanced modifications and that there were clear signs showing it was his handiwork. He explained that scientists often leave small identifying marks on their creations, allowing them to recognize their own work. Amado also revealed that he could tell straight away that he was the one who reconstructed Kawaki's Kama seal. For some reason, the special Kama he had created, the one containing his daughter's data, was now on Kawaki's hands. This situation completely contradicted Amado's current memories, but because of the physical evidence he had, he concluded that part of his memory must have been altered. He explained that memories are unreliable, just ambiguous fragments of thought, and that as a scientist, he truly trusted physical evidence above all else. This meant that even though omnipotence has changed and erased parts of Amado's memories, including what he knew about omnipotence itself, he still chose to believe that Kawaki was Kawaki and Boruto was Boruto. He remembers deciding to trust his own judgment based on the physical evidence of Kawaki's body and Kama seal. These new memories created after omnipotence had taken effect could not be erased. This is similar to how Shikamaru also retained a memory of deciding to trust Boruto was truly Boruto, even though he could not remember why, because the evidence that led him to that conclusion had been erased by omnipotence due to the evidence being Shikamaru finding out about the omnipotence ability and how it worked. At the end of her conversation with Amado, he admitted that he didn't know who had tampered with things, but said his only concern was the Kama seal containing his daughter's data. He confirmed that Boruto did not have it, Kawaki did. Sai, who was watching the entire discussion, shared everything he learned with Shikamaru. That information led Shikamaru to investigate further, eventually discovering the truth. As a result, Shikamaru now secretly works with Boruto and trusts him completely. If Sumire had not used her intelligence and calm approach to draw this information out of Amado, Sai and Shikamaru might never have found out the truth. Shikamaru would not be working with Boruto in secret or trusting him as he does now. So even though Boruto might never know that Shikamaru discovered the truth thanks to Sumire's help, her actions once again prove how deeply she cares for him. By leading that conversation with Amado so carefully, she showed her loyalty and love for Boruto through her thoughtful and selfless acts of service. Let's now look at Sarada. Sarada is similar to Sumire in many ways. She's emotionally intelligent, analytical, and socially aware. However, she expresses these traits in her own unique way. And unlike Sumire, Sarada also has strong fighting abilities. The first clear way Sarada has shown that she cares about Boruto through her actions is by being deeply concerned for his safety and by being open to supporting him even when everyone else saw him as an enemy. At the start of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Sarada is seen speaking to the Hokage, Shikamaru, and his advisor Konohamaru, trying to make them understand that Boruto is innocent. She tells Shikamaru that she explained it to him over and over again, but he still doesn't understand. Her efforts went completely useless, though. Shikamaru replied that Boruto had been given chances, but he crossed the line when he betrayed Konoha by supposedly killing Naruto, the Hokage, and Hinata, even trying to kill their son Kawaki. At this point, Shikamaru still didn't know the truth about Boruto. His memories had been altered by omnipotence, making him believe that Boruto was Kawaki, the one truly responsible for Naruto and Hinata's disappearance, and who had tried to kill Naruto's son, Kawaki. Kawaki made things even worse for Boruto's reputation after omnipotence was triggered. He threatened Ada, forcing her to tell Konoha that Naruto had not just disappeared, he had been killed by Boruto. This caused everyone to see Boruto as a murderer. Sarada, however, refused to believe it. She told Shikamaru that his entire argument was wrong, and insisted that Boruto would never kill Naruto. She begged Shikamaru to at least give Boruto a chance to tell his side of the story. Konohamaru was listening to the conversation, then asked Sarada why Boruto ran away if he was truly innocent. He also mentioned that they had eyewitness testimony from Ida's Sharingan, which confirmed what everyone believed, that Boruto had done the crimes Kawaki had framed him for. Sarada defended Boruto again, asking Konohamaru whether he would not run if someone had ordered his death. She wanted them to understand that Boruto had no chance but to flee, as his strength at that time was not enough to fight against Konoha, Ishinobu, and Kawaki, all of whom wanted him dead. She then asked Shikamaru to cancel the order kill on Boruto and hear him out, but Shikamaru refused. It was during this conversation that it was revealed that Sarada had lost her Chunin status and had been demoted back to Genin because she tried to defend Boruto during the time skip. Shikamaru even warned her that if she continued standing up for Boruto, she will never rise above Genin and should forget about becoming Hokage altogether. This conversation, along with other discussions Sarada and Sumire had with Shikamaru, later became part of what convinced him to start trusting Boruto. After Sai shared with Shikamaru the information he learned, that Kawaki was the one with the special Kama seal and scientific tech that could only have been created by Amado, Shikamaru realized his own memories had been tampered with. This made him start investigating the situation himself. During his investigation, Shikamaru wanted to confirm that Boruto was truly Uzumaki Boruto. When he used Ino's mind transfer jutsu to speak with Boruto directly, he asked him if he was really who he claimed to be. Shikamaru admitted that he still found it hard to believe, but also said that it had never occurred to him before Amado brought it up that his own memories might have been fabricated. Shikamaru told Boruto that when he flipped Boruto's and Kawaki's positions in his mind, everything started to make sense. He then asked Boruto to tell him the truth. When Boruto explained everything, including what Ada's omnipotence had done, he told Shikamaru not to bother trying to understand it fully, as the concept would soon fade from his memory anyway. Shikamaru was shaken by what Boruto said and needed more convincing. Then Boruto mentioned that this was not the first time Shikamaru had heard about omnipotence. Sarada and Sumire had already told him several times before. This made Shikamaru realize that Sarada had been right all along. If Boruto was now saying exactly what Sarada had been telling him earlier, even though Boruto had not been in the village to hear it, then that meant there had to be truth to it. This proved to Shikamaru that Sarada and Sumire had both been trying to tell him the truth for a long time, and that Sarada especially had been the most persistent. She had tried again and again to clear Boruto's name, even at the cost of her rank and future in Konoha. Boruto also told Shikamaru that the idea of omnipotence would not stay in his mind, that it fades over time, and asked him to simply trust that he and Kawaki had switched places even though there was no proof. Once Shikamaru was convinced that Boruto was indeed the real Uzumaki, he asked Boruto if he was okay with continuing to live as a fugitive. Boruto replied that it was fine, he had not expected anything else. Now that omnipotence has erased the concept of omnipotence from Shikamaru's memory, he still remembers deciding to trust and believe that Boruto is truly Uzumaki Boruto, even though he no longer knows why. From the earlier conversation, Shikamaru still remembers confirming that Naruto and Hinata are alive and sealed in Kawaki's Daikokuten dimension. He also remembers realizing that Boruto never intended to kill Kawaki, something he had once believed under the effects of omnipotence when he thought Boruto was Kawaki. Shikamaru further remembers telling Boruto that he will have to keep taking the false blame for Naruto's disappearance. However, he can't remember exactly what it was about Kawaki that he needed to protect, only that he didn't want to corner Kawaki again. This is why he never revealed the full truth, leading Boruto to accept being seen as Konoha's enemy and taking the blame for Naruto's and Hinata's disappearance, crimes that Kawaki had framed him for. Before omnipotence erased parts of his memory, Shikamaru knew that it was Kawaki's wish that had triggered omnipotence in the first place. This entire situation between Shikamaru and Boruto shows how much Sarada's loyalty and courage influenced things. She was willing to defend Boruto's name in his absence, even at the cost of a chunin rank and possibly her dream of becoming Hokage. Her persistency and faith in Boruto played a big role in helping Shikamaru eventually see the truth. When Boruto returned to Konoha to save his sister Himawari from Jura and Sarada from Hidari, the people of the village were still hostile towards him. Even Konohamaru showed distrust. This was clear when Konohamaru asked Boruto what he was plotting by showing up in Konoha like nothing had changed. His words showed that Boruto was still seen as a traitor, even though he had returned to help Konoha. Konohamaru also questioned whether Boruto truly understood his position. Sarada noticed the tension and decided to step in. Using her awareness of the situation, she tried to convince Konohamaru to support Boruto, at least for the time they needed to fight Hidari. She did this by pointing out that if Boruto had not shown up, she would have been dead or worse. Her words made Konohamaru stop and think. When he also realized that Boruto had managed to save Himawari, he decided to put aside his anger and distrust towards Boruto, at least for that mission. Sarada's actions helped Boruto gain temporary allies for that battle. Because of her, Boruto was able to use his calm and strategic mind to work together with the sensory unit shinobi. Boruto got the shinobi to cooperate by asking him to focus on the claw marks that Hidari had placed around the battlefield and to report any sign of chakra movement coming from them. This teamwork proved useful. When Hidari tried to summon multiple claw crimes through the claw marks, the sensory unit shinobi quickly detected the chakra from the claw marks and warned Boruto. Thanks to this, Boruto was able to come up with a battle plan. He used Uchiha Genjutsu to cut down the number of claw crimes, while Sarada focused on defending against the ones attacking her. Boruto didn't just gain the sensory unit's cooperation, he also gained Konohamaru's support. This was shown when Konohamaru used his new jutsu, the Rasen Barrier, to block and neutralize Hidari's Chidori. This attack was extremely powerful because Hidari was a divine tree created from Sasuke's chakra, which had been observed when Sasuke was trapped in a tree after being devoured by a claw crime. Sarada didn't stop there. She continued helping Boruto by using her Chidori stream to electrocute Hidari. Then using her superhuman strength inherited from her mother's side, she threw Hidari into the air. This gave Boruto the perfect chance to finish the battle with his Rasengan Uzuhiku, which finally defeated Hidari. After Hidari was defeated, Boruto let his guard down, especially while he was talking to Kawaki. Because of this, Jura took the chance to fire a sniper-like compressed Biju bomb from a distance, which hit Boruto so hard that he passed out. When Sarada saw this, she became worried and immediately rushed over to Boruto to check if he was okay. Sumire also showed great concern at that moment. When Sarada briefly left Boruto to collect Hidari's Stone Soul Bulb, something Boruto wanted because he hoped to use it to free Sasuke, Sumire stayed by Boruto's side to make sure he was safe. While this was happening, Jura fired another compressed Biju bomb at Sarada's hand from a distance as she tried to grab the Stone Soul Bulb. Once Himawari managed to heal Sarada, both Sarada and Sumire were worried about Boruto's condition. Sarada asked Himawari to heal Boruto as well, but Kawaki told Himawari not to go near him. Sarada became angry at Kawaki, thinking that he didn't want Himawari to help Boruto. This was shown by the exclamation marks used when Sarada called out Kawaki's name, showing her frustration and concern for Boruto's safety. Sarada was clearly ready to stand up to Kawaki to make sure Boruto was healed. It was later revealed that Kawaki's real intention was for Konohamaru to arrest Boruto by putting chakra sealing cuffs on him, making him unable to use his chakra or perform jutsu. Later on, when Boruto escaped from Konoha with the secret help of Shikamaru and Miski, Sarada and Sumire went to Ryokage's office to find out what had happened. Both of them were deeply worried. Sarada showed her concern more strongly. She ordered the guard at the door to move aside in a loud voice and said she just wanted to talk to Shikamaru, as shown by the exclamation marks used in her dialogue. When Sarada entered the office, she again called out Shikamaru's name loudly and demanded to know the result of Boruto's interrogation. Shikamaru then told both Sarada and Sumire that Boruto had escaped, which shocked Sarada, but it also eased her worries a bit, since it meant Boruto was still alive and free. After seeing the kind of power the divine trees, especially Hidari and Jura, possessed, Sarada became even more concerned for Boruto's safety. Her worry grew stronger, so she went to Ada and asked her to use her sender gun to check on Boruto and see if he was okay. Ada tried to comfort Sarada and Sumire by explaining that Boruto was not telling them much because he had his own reasons, mainly to keep them safe from unnecessary danger. Sarada accepted this explanation but was still deeply worried. Even though she understood that Boruto was probably hiding information to protect them, she didn't like that he had made it a habit to handle everything on his own. Deep down, she hoped Boruto would learn to ask for help and realize that he has people who care about him and want to support him. From Sarada's perspective, she understood that Konoha will continue to see Boruto as an enemy, even though they share a common enemy in the divine trees. Because of this, Sarada believed that it was up to her, Sumire and Ada to help him in any way they could. This is why Sarada asked Ada to track Boruto's location. In short, Sarada's constant concern and worry might have seemed excessive or annoying to some people, but in truth, it's simply a sign of her love and shows how deeply she cares about Boruto's safety and well-being. Another way Sarada showed that she truly cares about Boruto through her actions was by the sacrifice she made. Sarada grew up without her father Sasuke being around much, because Sasuke had dedicated his life to going on dangerous missions far away from Konoha. His goal was to investigate anything connected to Kagewa Otsutsuki, as he was worried about the threat the Otsutsuki clan would bring to the planet, the shinobi world, and innocent people. When Sarada grew older, Sasuke started to come home more often to spend time with her and his wife Sakura. However, when Sarada found out that Boruto was being treated as an enemy and was wanted by Konoha after the omnipotence was triggered, she decided to sacrifice the time she could have spent with her father. She asked Sasuke to help Boruto, and Sasuke agreed, even though he was also affected by omnipotence. Sasuke chose to believe Sarada's words because he witnessed her awakening her Mangekyou Sharingan after she became deeply upset and sad and cried upon learning what omnipotence had done to Boruto. How Kawaki used these effects to frame him for the disappearance of Naruto, the Hokage, and the hero of the 4th Great Ninja War, as well as Hinata. Sarada was heartbroken, wondering why Boruto's life was filled with so much pain and misfortune, one tragedy after another, without a single break. To Sasuke, the fact that Sarada awakened her Mangekyou Sharingan in that emotional state was proof enough that her feelings and words were genuine. Because of this, he trusted her and believed that they were all being deceived and that Boruto was innocent. Because of the sacrifice Sarada made, asking her father to leave once again and to go rogue to protect and train Boruto, Boruto has now become the strongest shinobi in history. Under Sasuke's guidance, Boruto has gained skills to deal with the threat posed by the divine trees, especially now that Jura, the leader of the divine trees, wants to kill him and devour both Himawari and Naruto in order to evolve himself and understand the concept of love. With Sasuke's teachings and Kashin Kokuji's guidance, Boruto's growth has accelerated greatly. He has now become strong enough to defend himself safely against shinobi from Konoha and other villages without harming them, and at the same time, he works to protect those same shinobi, even the ones who want to kill him, from the threat of the divine trees and the 10 tails. In conclusion, Both Sarada and Sumire's actions have clearly shown that their words about liking Boruto a lot match perfectly with their behavior. Their actions prove that they truly care about him and that their feelings are genuine. If you're wondering why Boruto doesn't choose to engage with them in a romantic way, then the video shown on the bottom left of the end screen is the one for you. In that video, you'll learn why Boruto is not focused on love right now and why things are the way they are for him. If you enjoyed this video and found value in it, please like the video so it can be shown to more people who would also appreciate the information shared here. And if you'd like to watch more videos about the Boruto manga from this channel, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you'll be alerted every time a new video is uploaded.